Back with another episode of Circle of Trades. I'm Todd Studer, and by the look of the Iowa Hawkeyes in the background, it must be Travis Waldstein, Aire, Serv Heating and Air Conditioning, and Waldstein Plumbing. I got my own Hawkeye shirt on today.
And there you go. Well, it sure as heck don't say that team from Lincoln on it. So, although I do got my tickets for the Iowa Nebraska game. So,
did you get them?
Yeah, I get them. We bought my wife. We went to Spencer, Iowa. Bought my wife a new, not a newer van.
Okay.
And so she doesn't look like she's drives a vehicle that's been hit by two deer and been backed into something by one of my guys. I mean, her van would be set up for demolition derby. I mean, the dents are already.
Speaking of demolition derby, I saw your post leaving Iowa City after the Oregon game.
Yeah, guy actually called me today. So yeah,
he called you. How did he not? Did he run off or?
Well, yeah, I totally read off, but he just wants to pay for it outright now. And I deal the insurance, but you know what? I might be okay with that. So
yeah.
I need to get over to Greg Young next week and take a look at, but that's where I bought the truck. But yeah, got sideswiped. We park at Melrose Court in Iowa City, which is like 3 blocks from the stadium, and go to leave. We're just sitting in line, and some guy driving like a bat out of hell, all sorts of pissed off, which it is what it is.
Right.
Come around a corner, freaking swiped the front corner of my truck. Snapped my mirror. I thought he busted it, but he didn't. He just cracked it and thought it was scratched real bad, and it's washed it. It's not too bad. So I'm kind of at a point. It's like, well, so we're going to see. But yeah, that was quite interesting. So, of course, I went with a couple Oregon fans. They didn't know what the hell. So, yeah, it is a typical Saturday night after the Iowa game. This is why we sit at the camp spot and hang out in it for an hour after the game. But it's raining. Everybody wanted to be gone. So.
Oh, yeah. It was. It had to have been miserable out there in the stadium.
Oh yeah, it definitely was. I'll take cold over rain, believe it or not. You know, by the end of the third quarter, like I said, I was so drenched that it didn't matter. So, you know, I felt like a duck. So, but it was all good. So,
well, we haven't talked since obviously the last show when we were recording. There was an election in Council Bluffs coming up. That's done.
Yes,
we now know that
there was an upset.
Yeah,
there was an upset. You know, it's kind of like college football. We had an upset that happened.
Our new mayor is Jill Shudak.
Yeah,
and of course, we wish her the best. I mean, because if she succeeds, we all succeed. So you know, that's my motto with all of this. Yeah. And you know, want to. Personally, I give a thank you to Matt Walsh. I mean, he's always been very supportive of anything that I've done over the years, and very generous with his time with me. So I'm grateful for the time that I had with him as mayor. And now we're going to move forward under new leadership and see what Jill Shudak has in mind and what she can do.
Yeah. Well, you know, and I would agree with that sentiment with Matt. And there's some people, if you read my Facebook post, I'm not anti-Matt Walsh. I think Matt Walsh has done a lot for the city, but I also feel after 18 years as a councilman and 12 years as a mayor, you can sell me on experience, but there becomes a point to where I think you need to have fresh blood. And it has nothing to do with Matt, but I believe any top politician that spends more than 10 years in an office needs to move on. Because Washington D.C. is full of lifetime politicians, and if you look at the last 41 days where our government was closed, you got Charles Grassley and you got a bunch of bitter old men and bitter old women. Don't matter if there's a D or R behind their name that that can't balance a budget, that can't get a budget passed through, and they sit there pointing fingers at each other and holding SNAP benefits and holding the government and holding telling veterans they're not going to get paid and telling the military they're not going to get paid. You're there to do a job. Your job is to pass spending bills to make sure that the government is funded into the services that were there. And I'm sorry, that's the problem. And it's a power play. And I'm sorry, and they can keep that in Washington. And it needs to change, but it'll probably never change in my lifetime. So for me personally, is nothing against the candidate himself. So I'm glad to see the change for that reason alone. I'm on record that said if Matt Walsh decided to do something with Iowa West or possibly run for Potawatomi County supervisors, you know what? I'd probably be on board. I'd probably even campaign for the guy, possibly.
You're going to go out and door knock? Is that what you're going to do? That I would love to get some video of that.
Yeah, there you go. But we hand out here's I'll bring a 6-pack of Busch Light. We can sit and talk politics for half hour. That'd be my politics. Can't afford to do Swarm, so we got to do Busch Light. So, but no, in all seriousness, I think Matt's done a lot of good for the city. I think he has the capacity to do something besides being mayor that would benefit the city. But hey, listen, the guy's 71 years old. If he wants to go off and go play golf or go do other stuff, he says he's not going to do anything politically, but I don't believe him. But I've been around before. But yeah, I wish him nothing well. And they got two new. Steve Corman got on, and then Cole Button?
Cole Button, yeah.
Cole Button was one in there.
Yeah, and Cole Button's new. I mean, he's run for office several times, and this is the first time he's won. And he speaks very well. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do. And and after having a conversation with Steve Gorman, who, by the way, Steve, if you happen to stumble upon this and you're watching it, thanks for reaching out to me, because he reached out to me to be on my show. Yeah. And I said, you know what, thank you for that, because I didn't have his contact information. So.
Oh, I had it. Yeah. Steve's a great guy, actually. I like Steve. I like his brother Chuck. They don't get along politically, but that's all right. They're brothers. They're going to fight a little bit. Got to fight over something. No, I actually listened to that interview. I thought it was very good. It was very insightful. And there's going to be a seat that's open. I know there was a comment made that, it should be male, it should be female. You know what? I would say that anybody, whether the Vanderpool gal that had ran or Dustin Harris or, you hate spending money on an election, but I'm hoping that they do some sort of runoff and let the people have a say. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like my work. I want the best qualified position for the job. And if there's 2 people or 3 people that feel like they're qualified for the position, and let the best person win. I really don't care, if they have a D or R or male or female or who it is, but anybody puts their hat out there, I'm for. But I live in the county, so I have zero say in it, zero. But I think for the constituents, I think it'd feel a lot better if it was out for a vote. And I've seen some stuff to believe that the people that were close, or at least were in the top 4, might be looking at doing some sort of runoff, or at least keeping their hat out there. And I think that's positive for the community. You don't want to spend money on elections, but at the same time, kind of an important position to be able to run the city. I mean, and with fresh blood and with new people, heck, Chris Peterson could even run for council again if he wanted to. I mean, I guess, to me, that's all positive. And turnover and change. We got a couple people in the next election. Listen, I'm good friends with Roger Sandow, and he's been in for 8 years, and he's going to appoint maybe one more cycle. And like I said, 10 years to me is plenty, but that's my opinion.
Well, and you brought up the fact that you live in the county, so you don't get to vote, but you do business in Council Bluffs.
Oh, absolutely.
And you have 2 successful businesses in Council Bluffs, so you're entitled to talk about it. You should have a voice.
I have employees. My son used to have a house here in town, so I bought a place up by Underwood in the country. I've got several employees that live in town, just like I got several employees that live down in Glenwood. Almost all my employees are, Potawatomi, Council Bluffs, Glenwood, Potawatomi Mills. That's the area we serve. They're in all the communities. So anywhere where we do work or where we do business, like I said, doesn't mean I have all the answers, but I have a vested interest in it. Even though I can't vote, I go down. I deal with permits and inspections every day. I deal with the building division every day. We have lots of interactions. We deal with the street department a lot with what we do. So it's important, to have qualified and competent people in the positions, and it's tough to run a city. And so you want people that are willing to step in. Period. And I'm not anti this or anti that. I just want us to be better. Well,
and also be civil online. And I'm not talking to the candidates. I'm talking to,
Sorry, Nebraska fans. I maybe not that to you.
Yeah, but listen, And I've said this before too. I have had more civil conversations arguing about college football than politics,
Mm-hmm.
and not just civil, but more intelligent, because
Mm-hmm.
people's brains tend to shut off sometimes when they start talking about this, and they're not willing to have a conversation. And I saw some of that
Mm-hmm.
online. But to be honest with you, it was a very vocal minority.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't happening by that many people. It's just that they were, Chat GPT is a wonderful tool, I guess, because they were posting long diatribes, and you could tell that, yeah, it was probably AI generated.
It's going to be interesting, but like in business and like with politics, things change. The things are going to continue to move, whether there's a new mayor or there's not a new mayor. And so, how do you adjust to it? How do you deal with the change? How do you deal without the change? I would tell, one thing I would say is, and I think in the election cycle over in Omaha and in Council Bluffs, is that the two mayors that were definitely big on, the trolley setup and, and now we got the bridge to the West End or whatever. I have another name for it, but I won't use it here. In redevelopment the West End, you know, like I said, hopefully people do a better job of listening. It doesn't mean it would change any votes, but I'll go on record and say this. I think if the deal with the Dodge Riverside Golf Course, if that it was never brought up, I'm not sure that Matt Walsh doesn't win by a landslide. But I think that whole deal there, there's other factors, I'm sure, but that whole deal along with the trolley, I do think cost them the election, and that's too bad, But hey, sometimes you live by the sword, you die by the sword. So,
well, that a lot of people think that when John Ewing got elected mayor in Omaha, that killed the trolley for them. No.
Oh, that did. Now he's
no, that's still going ahead. They're still doing it.
Yeah,
They've got millions and millions already invested in that. They've got construction going on. Things are tore up through the old market. It's happening there. So
like I said, I won't ride the train from San Francisco back to Omaha like an Amtrak or something. That's cool. I could give two hoots less about riding. I've rode the L in Chicago. I've rode the train out in Vegas. I've rode the train in San Diego that takes you down to Tijuana. It gets you there, but I'm not clamoring to hop on the train. I mean, it sounds ambience. Go over to Boone County, ride the train over there. I mean, you want to see a cool train and do some cool stuff, go ride that train. But that's my.
I like the one in Denver.
Yeah.
But I used it if I was going to a Rockies game. That's what I did. I parked out in a suburb and got on the light rail, I think is what it's called, and rode into downtown to get to the stadium.
What'd you do? Go watch the Braves lose that night?
No, the Braves weren't playing that night. It was just a bunch of us this is back when I was still doing radio and at the network, and a bunch of us went. And that is a weird stadium. We were up in left field, and we were in the upper deck. We weren't all the way at the top, but we were in the upper deck, and you couldn't see down below. I couldn't even see the left fielder.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Because of the angle and that we were at, you couldn't see the whole field. It's a weird view from there.
It's kind of like being in Columbus at the top of the horseshoe when you're higher than the flagpole. Been there, done that. So 100%. You're not recommended buying seats that high, but okay, I did. Well, now that we've covered the election and we're kind of excited to see what's going to happen at come January 2nd or whatever, and there's Thanksgiving holiday, then there's this holiday with this big fat guy that likes to give presents and other stuff coming too. So,
and then there's Santa Claus.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, I thought you were talking about getting stuff for from your kids or something.
No. I know Ebenezer Scrooge. Although I have grandkids now, I have to be. Yeah. So
you're
get me to the bowl game of college football playoff. There you go. So,
your gift buying just got upped. Once you have grandkids, it's a different ball game now.
We're gonna buy loud toys. That's what we're gonna do. They're gonna
take them home. Everything that makes noise.
Here's an Ebony. Here you go. Here's some loud toys. There you go. So, but
well, with you've talked about it before that with the calendar year ending, there's going to be a lot of these rebates and tax incentives and things that are going to be expiring. Because there were so many different things in place for, getting your air conditioner replaced or getting your furnace replaced and putting in high efficiency types of things. And is all of it going away? Is just some of it going away? How is this working?
Pretty much anything that's federal related. Basically, earlier this year, what it was, I don't know. I think it's part of the Big Beautiful Bill, is what it is. So, as far as the Big Beautiful Bill, and so with that Big Beautiful Bill, one of the things that they cut out is a lot of the federal taxes. It says for HVAC, for geothermal. I think solar even got hit. Your electric cars. The electric cars is the first one. I think the tax created on like September 1st. And so it also here, well, we were going to do a lot of electric cars, and now the electric car market is kind of went, I won't say total kibosh, but, it's kind of got away. So, but yeah, this is all a part of that program. And so, your air conditioner, a lot of the rebates that have been promoted by the utilities have, came through these programs. So, there's probably not going to be a lot. So anything federal tax related for sure. Do your rebates from like Black Hills or Mid American? So if they have their individual rebate, if they're not federally backed, you're probably not. Most of them are going to go away. Black Hills, the utility rebate probably will be there for furnaces and like water heaters, because the Iowa Utilities Board has some has some say in that. But and some of it's $200, some of it's $300, some of it, if you're doing geothermal, it's 30% of the job, or a mini split's $2,000. I mean, there's definitely some costs involved with it. But yeah, that's what you're. Unfortunately, that's what we're seeing, and do I like it? No. But at the end of the day, the government has chose not to invest in them programs, and you can either tax people or you can incentivize them. So, but right now with the current administration, you're probably, they're wanting to reverse some of the carbon footprint stuff anyway. So probably where you'll probably see this 2 to 3 years down the road, when there's a different administration that feels differently about it. So, not that I don't think green energy is important, not that I don't think energy efficiency is important, but I know that our president, love him or hate him, the orange guy is not a big fan of solar and wind. And if you watch Billy Bob Thornton and
Oh, that was a great speech, wasn't it?
oh yeah,
How accurate that speech was that he did in Landman, I don't know.
I think it's pretty freaking accurate,
but
especially with windmills. Yeah, I do.
It's just that could be one of my favorite character that I've seen in 20 years come off. And I used to think, I just loved Rip from Yellowstone. I think I like Billy Bob Thornton better at Landman.
Yeah, no, that whole deal when he was talking to the gal with the Northwestern hat on, it's like, yeah, I mean, and this comes back to Mid American. I mean, Mid American Energy Holdings, Warren Buffett, back in 2009, a lot of the tax credits, 2009, 2010, a lot of the tax credits instead of go away, and all of a sudden, Mid American Energy was going to stop the windmills, because if they had to put out one penny, so net 1 penny, they were going to stop building windmills. And then all of a sudden, Uncle Warren had, President Obama into Omaha for something, eating at the Garats or wherever they ate at. And all of a sudden, it was discussed that they need to have, the incentives, and they were renewed. So, it's politics, a lot of it. What right or wrong or indifferent, but if Warren Buffett makes a lot of money, he figures out how to use other people's money, and it doesn't cost him a dime. Good for him. It's no different than the Keystone XL pipeline. There's 4 pipelines coming out of the United States of Canada. Guess which one? Mid American Holdings does not own Keystone XL. Guess which one you hear a whole lot about?
Right.
Keystone XL, because he's got trains that can run that oil down to the Midwest, so you don't have to use pipelines. So, but people don't understand. They don't read. They don't comprehend. And and does everybody like oil? Does everybody like fossil fuels? I don't know, but it's gotten our economy and where it's at today. And I think you have to have all forms of energy. That's, I think you have to be able to be responsive and receptive, but, there's no such thing as a free ride. If you do solar, guess what? There's a cost to running solar panels. I mean, there's a cost. How do you get rid of them? Or the windmills? Windmills are great, but like you said, it costs a lot of money in diesel fuel and concrete to put in the ground to put a tube that's 300 foot in the air to catch the wind. I mean, he's not wrong, And every time you stick a shovel in the ground to run a diesel excavator, guess what? It costs a lot of money. So, does it work out? It's working out for Mid America right now, but that could always change too. So
yeah, I've had a friend that's been very, very vocal in trying to keep those windmill things out of his area, Palo Alto County, up in Northwest Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I can't say it was him directly, but I think that so far the effort has been successful, because I don't know that they're there. And I mean, to be honest, there's a little bit of a point. You drive between Council Bluffs and Des Moines, and you're going past Atlantic, and how many of those wind turbines are out there?
Hundreds.
Hundreds. And I personally think it's unsightly.
Yeah. If depending on what way you go, a lot of people go up to Okoboji, obviously from Council Bluffs, Omaha area. So if you go there, even if you go up highway, even if you go up through Sioux City, go up Highway 60 now, through Lamar's and then head north that way, you see them. But if you take Highway 71, let's say you go over to Harlan and cut up through Denison, and you get north into, basically Buena Vista County, Clay County. If you get over to O'Brien County, which is over to the west in Cherokee County, there's a whole slew of windmills. And if you take 59, they're real close on Highway 59. So it really depends on where it's at. I know 2-3 years ago, there was a deal out east of Council Bluffs between Trainer and Highway 59. They were talking about putting windmill farms in. There was a bunch of people like, not in our backyard. And I have a friend who lives in Biochina, has got one. It's an eighth of a mile from his house, and I'm gonna tell you what, that thing sounds like a freight train when it's going about 10 miles an hour. Center for yards, like, what the hell's that? Oh, it's the windmill. Yeah, I mean, it's not quiet. They're quiet or neat. Well, if you live with it so far, but they're not quiet or neat, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that they fully understand all of the problems that it causes. I mean, because they're emitting a low frequency sound wave that I've heard people say is causing them headaches, causing them health problems, and the argument is there's no proof of that yet. Well, if somebody's dealing with it, that's enough proof for me.
What, for years and years and years, they said that Roundup didn't hurt you either. Now there's all kinds of stuff about Roundup and, give you Parkinson's and all this other stuff, and that it don't hurt the water. Then, the water's so damn full of nitrates that, the Des Moines River run to Des Moines, they can't use the water. They've got nitrate filters and they can't handle it. What's happening? Well, everybody's putting freaking nitrates and, chemicals in the, and where does it go? Runs off to the river water. So, at some point it'll hit our underground surface water. Then we'll have real issues and be like, oh, great. Now all the water's contaminated. So now what?
Yeah, we're going to get on some people's radar with this one, I think.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, listen, and I mean, I'm not, I've got a cousin that's a biologist. I've got, listen, I got family who, are polar opposites of what I am. I can promise you that. But I mean, there's a when you do stuff like there's a reaction. I mean, it is what it is. So, but,
so the moral of this whole story is if you want to take advantage of some tax rebates while it's still available, you don't have a lot of time left.
Yeah, basically it's being installed by December 31st. Customers that we're talking to, that's basically,
that's about it.
Yeah, it's I mean, you could probably pre-purchase. And then, finish your install, but you're going to have to pay for it before the end of the year. So, and I'm sure there'll be other stuff that rolled out because in about a year, it's like everything else. Oh my God, the incentives go away. Now what? So, so it'll probably come back again, but it'll be in a different form,
Mhm.
different packaged box, same thing, so.
Well,
And when it's there, we'll be there to talk to you about it. I mean,
yeah.
that's what we do. So,
Well, everybody seems to think that, whatever uh, political party is in power, well, that's just permanent and the other side is dead. No, it's not. Goes back and forth. Back, was it in 2008 when Obama got elected? I just heard constantly how the Republican Party is dead and it's over with and they're never coming back.
mm-hmm.
Did you just move here? You have no understanding about how things work. It's cyclical. It's going to go back and forth.
Yeah, they talked about this with the last election. You get too far one direction or the other, it will. It comes back. It comes back around. It's that's the good part about being a republic. It's not one vote. One vote is equal. And I know some people. Well, that's the way it should be. The president should be the popular vote. Well, there's a reason that the forefathers, because you got some state like Rhode Island has got 50 people, and then you got Pennsylvania, it's got 3 million people back in 1790, and it's like, well, how are we going to manage to wait this out so that that I mean, like I said, somebody used that gray stuff on their head to figure this stuff out. So.
Well, and listen, I said this a long time ago that if they were to ever to go just straight to a popular vote, I don't see a lot of difference because right now, you look at the swing states, and that is where the majority of the campaign money is spent. And it is sent into Ohio. It's sent into Pennsylvania. It's sent into Wisconsin. Not even so much as in Iowa anymore, because it's, things have gone pretty red in Iowa recently. But before, it was one of those toss-up states. So that's where all the money's going. Donald Trump was not heavily campaigning in California. He was not spending money out there. He was not, but if we go on with the straight popular vote, now all the money is going to flow to where the population centers are. Now, does that mean that I think that if you count all the votes that, a Republican for president could take California? No, but I do think it would tighten.
Oh, yeah.
And then that means that the more traditional states where nobody is spending money is going to stay just the way that it is. And I don't think there's a change. And again, these are opinions. I'm not a political scientist. I haven't gone to college for it.
Really?
I just have opinions about things.
So no, back to the rebates. If you want to talk about it's time, if like I said, free money is better than no money, I guess. And they're not saying it's free, but you can save a few $100 on your taxes or whatever. That's why you take advantage of it. So
yeah.
it shouldn't change your differences by buying a furnace or AC. It might make it more incentive wise to buy one versus the other, but it's all, what does a person want? Do they want the El Cheapo or do they want the better?
Mm-hmm.
What's your option? So, and nobody, everybody's right from their own perspective. So,
and it's still gonna, the high efficiency ones are still gonna save you money on your power bill.
Yeah, gas bills, electric bill. Oh yeah, it's all more efficient. All to save us from ourselves.
Well, as we are recording this, let me take a look here at what is happening right now on this November, what are we, the 14th? Yeah, November 14th in Council Bluffs, Iowa. At as we're recording this, is 3:20 in the afternoon, and we are at 73 degrees.
Yeah, on November 14th. Like, happy birthday, Dad. Oh, wait a minute, Dad's not around anymore, but he would have been his birthday there. Yeah, no, it's crazy. Like I said, then next week it'll probably be 15 and snow. So, but we've had a little bit cold. Obviously, last weekend was cold. So I mean, people know it's coming. It's here. But yeah, this weather for November is crazy. There's no doubt about it. So
I did. I have it. Getting back to Council Bluffs, I've seen that they're putting the lights up.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that Well, I think it was Blue Wall's crew out there doing it.
Oh yeah,
that's what the side of the truck said.
Yeah, my wife wants colored lights. My wife wants lights we can run all year round. She's like, Christmas lights, great, but she wants to be able to change via season. So
those like, LED lights on a remote.
Yeah, that's so. Blue was supposed to get a hold of my wife on that, so I'm like, yeah, I don't blame her, because we had a tree up one year where for every holiday she did like Valentine's Day, and then March, St. Patty's Day, and then we do Memorial Day, of course, Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day, and then did Thanksgiving. She did a couple other holidays. I think she did like Nurses Holiday and like Veterans Day too. So, she did a whole tree. So she wants to be colorful. So we got her front porch, and she's got the American orange, but she wants some color in her life. So so
dogs leave it alone.
Oh yeah, they'll leave it alone. You keep them in the backyard; they're okay.
Well, that'll work too. All right. Well, excited that we're reaching the end of the year. We've got a few games left for the Hawkeyes as we're recording this, and I'm still hoping they make a bowl game someplace warm. I'm getting less and less optimistic about that. But
yeah, well, I don't know. Between the Hawkeyes and Packers right now, both teams last week kind of let me down. So.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully both of them have rebound and have a better weekend this weekend. It'd make for a lot happier Travis. So.
Yep, that is true. Grateful for your time, sir. As always, thank you much, and looking forward to another Hawkeye win. We'll leave it at that. All right, and thanks for watching. We'll be back very soon with another episode.